So we're doing a longer video, and I usually do specifically just focusing on the carburetor on this 90s F-150. This is a 5-liter roller block stock, and it's been carb converted. So this is a bit of a weirdo carburetor. So this is a Holley carburetor. This is a 80453 is the number on it. And these are a performance emissions carburetor. So these were designed 69 to 72 was what they were showing. That this is for Ford cars, big Ford cars. But I mean, they'll fit anything. This is a Holley 4160, right? However, this is a little bit different. So, but the differences are kind of good. There's not a lot of differences in this. I don't think there's any differences that aren't an improvement. So we'll show you the differences on this thing. So these are pretty cool. Very universal because they're an emissions carburetor designed to be in a replacement. You have a plethora of vacuum ports that you don't normally have. So if you're running a stock, highly complicated conversion system. And we also see here that valve in the center. So that's the easy way to tell these. That runs out to that black hose. Normally this goes to a charcoal canister, but I'm going to try to recirculate it through the air cleaner. Now how this works is that valve, that lever pushes down on the valve. So as soon as you step on the gas pedal, all right, this valve is closed, meaning no venting. But as soon as you're low speed, RPM, idling, stoplight, you know, not on the throttle, sitting at a light, and under head temperatures when the air's not moving, jacks up, and that helps get rid of your vapors. So knowing that the boiling rate of modern fuel has changed, this might actually work pretty good. Between that and my electric fuel pumps, that's kind of a welcome addition. I don't mind having that at all. That's fine. So does it really improve anything? We'll see. Can't hurt. So other differences. Weirdo carburetor. This has the mixture screws on these. You can't, they're not on there anymore, but they have these big plastic caps. If you look these carburetors up online, they have these big white plastic caps with the screws, and you're not supposed to mess with them. So these came from the factory preset. And then the plastic caps are so you don't tamper with it and mess with it, the idle settings, right? So for emission purposes. The other thing is these idle screws are backwards. So these are the only carburetors, the emission ones, that are backwards. So if you turn these enrichment screws in, it makes it richer. Whereas everything else, Holley, right, in restricts. So if you screw it in, it leans the mixture. These are the opposite. Screwing it in makes it richer. So yeah, it's pretty. Another cool tip with 4160 carburetors. This is just a regular 3/8 compression elbow. So, and it threads right into the float bowl. I think it's 9/16 24. I might be wrong, but I'm pretty close. This is the size, and they thread right in. I can use my original Holley banjo washer, and everything works out really nice. So that's awesome. Do like that. Other differences with these carburetors, squirters. So these have a tube style accelerator pump squirter. Okay, so a regular carburetor, standard Holleys, pretty much all of them just come with like a what do they call them, a straight squirter, just a regular one, right? These are tube style. So these are, and that is supposedly gives you a more accurate, more straight flow, and gives it a more accurate, more consistent shot of steady stream of straighter shot of fuel onto the booster. So apparently it's supposed to be better. It's usually an upgrade, so that comes factory in these, so that this already had that in there, so that's cool. But 600 CFM, I think that's, we haven't got into this yet. Best part about these, because these are made for heavy carburetors, and like I said, some of them made them in RVs, Holley has a 2-stage power valve. So I'm going to give you the part number here. Part number with, so there's I think there's 3 kinds. There's 3 different sizes, calibrations. So there's 3 different part numbers for Holley's array of 2-stage power valves. They're getting harder to find, but you can still get them, especially on eBay. But this one has a Holley number 125208 is the number for that power valve. So it's a two-stage power valve, meaning there's two opening phases. So the first, when the vacuum drops to 10.5 hg of vacuum, the first door opens and it creates a small amount of flow, small amount of enrichment, right? Gives you a little, just gives you a little, right? And the second stage comes in at 5.5 hg's of vacuum. So with this part number, that's when both stages activate. So when you're full boot, you're getting the whole load at 5.5 hg's of vacuum. So that's actually super fucking awesome, because normally with a Holley, that's why billet metering plates and idle feed restrictions and air bleed sizes and all of these things that we do, but especially the billet metering plates, with a lot of guys buy them just because they can put then they start playing around with the power valve restrictors, right? So then they buy air fuel metering and they get into that, and the idea is you can have it open early, restrict the size of the orifice feeding it, and have it go for a longer duration. So if you have a heavy car, stockish power, street RPM stuff, right? It gives you what you need for that longer duration of not all out drag racing. So yeah, so hopefully that explains that. Two-stage power valves are awesome. Plus, I like this carburetor. I like these floats. It's a different kind of a look, man. It's got the list numbers on it. It's kind of vintage. So I kind of looked these up online, and it's showing not a lot of stock of these carburetors. So, and I can see why now, knowing the extra brass in that valve and the extra, right? We start looking at materials, offshore manufacturing, and yeah, fuck giving you the good parts and the good stuff. But I think that's it for what makes this kind of carburetor unique. So then enter me, and I'll make it more unique. If you haven't noticed already, I have a playlist where I converted this electric choke to manual for no money at all, but we ain't done there. So there's a Holley 600 CFM, and it's on the 90s Ford. They have those big comb over EFI style intakes that I hate. I hate them. They look stupid. I hate them. However, that's where they get a lot of their good torque from. Like a 302 is a lot torquier than a 305 Chevy. That's a lot of the reason why. Well, if you take that off and you replace it with the carburetor, you're actually making it worse. Meaning the runner length. A lot shorter runner length. So I'm trying to make up for that. And what am I trying to make up for? Velocity. Okay, that long runner, that gives you velocity. So what I'm going to do, I have got a 1-inch spacer underneath this, but I'm going to take the 600 CFM carburetor and I'm going to put a 750 CFM throttle plate underneath it, okay? And what that does is that messes with basically the Venturi effect. It creates a higher velocity. It creates higher velocity, which is exactly what we're looking for, which is exactly what I was trying to make up for. Last thing I want is this to run worse than it did. So, but the other thing that the high velocity does within the carburetor system itself, that specific modification, is it improves your signal. So it just kind of livens everything up in the carburetor, all the circuits. And for low RPM, street driven, on off the throttle, everything, that's where it's at. So that's going to be a for sure mod. I already have my eyes open for a used 750. Perfect world, don't think I'll get there, but absolute perfect world for this carburetor. Make absolute perfection. Annular boosters in the primary, and then down leg boosters in the secondary. And then with the I'm losing it. And with the with the high velocity mod and the throttle place from the 750, would be absolutely killer. And that's actually the annular boosters in the primary and the down leg in the secondary. That's actually a Ford GT350. They used to put them in stock like that. It was a special Holley carburetor just for the GT350s. So yeah, a little nod to vintage racing in my daily. Why the fuck not? And then to dial that in, I would put a billet metering plate. So because it's a 4160, there's no secondary jets. It's got a secondary metering plate. So you can buy a billet plate that has screw in. It's threaded, so you can put your screw in jets in. So it makes jetting your secondaries much better, which I would imagine putting a 750 throttle plate on that, we'd have to do some messing. But yeah, that's the plan, and then just see exactly how strong you can make a 5-speed 302 run without camming it, because gas is expensive. Plus, winter driving, cold weather, daily responsibilities, heavy vehicles, you need crisp, consistent performance every day, and it's kind of what I'm looking for. So anyway, if you stuck it out, I hope you did. I'll be uploading this to my carburetor install playlist. I have playlists of everything I've done to this truck. There's so many mods, it's nuts. If you stumble across this video, like, follow, subscribe. There's more to come. We're going on to ignition next. So like I said, next video will be ignition, distributor. I'll be priming the oil system, priming the fuel system, and we're getting close to starting this thing. So 3-inch glass packs will be barking off on the sides of this because we got side pipes.